What up, guys? That fucking Nick is annoying. I'm just trying to keep the ball rolling with being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and making videos, and trying to get better at this shit, and not overthinking it, you know. But I suggest you guys do the same. It's a battle of. This is not even what I was planning on talking about, but it's coming to mind. So here we go. It is a battle of more than ever, I'd say, or it's it's a battle of trying to create overconsume, at least for me, and I think in general for people. It's so easy to consume content, and as like a gamer, movie buff, like I love video games and movies. Like now, it's just like whatever the easiest. It's the very thin line between dopamine, getting that hit, and like it's not even consuming anymore. Like you watch, Goodfellas, you're consuming art, and it's consuming, but it's a lot different than flipping on YouTube and YouTube Shorts when you wake up in the morning. That's the same thing. It's a lot closer to being a junkie, and dopamine chasing. And yeah, so I'm trying not to do that and create some value. And doing what other people I've been seeing on YouTube, like not helping other guys not feel alone. And it's fucked up right now, and I think the pendulum's swinging back. Yeah, maybe it's just swinging back. And when I talk about the pendulum, I mean more specifically like just the gender war thing. um it's never going to be 1991 again or whatever, and it's going to be a more balanced version. I think you know people understand, like, we change the polarities and it so much that it's like putting a round, sphere through a square hole. I never can say that saying right. But I think people are waking up to the difference in which is silly. Like, that was always my position pretty much from the beginning. It was like there's a big difference between we we're conflating differences in temperament, i.e. neuroticism or agreeableness, um, you know, stoicness versus neuroticism, agreeableness and disagreeableness, and those temperamental, the spectrum of temperament on certain personality traits with being of the wrong gender. And it's silly. It's the that's the spice of life in relationships, is those you don't have to be a masculine, super like stoic man and never talk about your feelings to be a man and to have be successful with women. It's often actually the opposite, but it's nor do you have to be super agreeable as a woman. But at the end of the day, there are biological differences, and it's silly to ignore those. Just It's almost like the way we look at politics. Like, it's not about the truth, it's about not giving anyone else any power. It's a power struggle. So to say as a woman that you're just as strong as a guy is like, it's actually detrimental to you because it's biologically incorrect. And to say that is, forget just the cultural repercussions, societal and cultural repercussions of spouting things that might get people hurt or whatever. But just the in that moment, you're just hurting yourself because you're gaslighting, you're delusional, you're lying to yourself, and it's anyway. So that's stopping. I mean, people are fucking miserable. And I think the power that women had during COVID and a little bit before, like the social media thing, is, at least in my generation, there's a whole lot of people that are just, I mean, I was all over that shit. Like, and everyone in my circle, it was just like a narcissistic battle for attention and supply. And it's it's pretty. If it's not evil, it has propensity for evil, and just shallowness. Anyway, not to get too soapboxy here, but my point is, I see so much. There's a lot. So many of the people that used to be active on social media are either much less active, like 90% less, or completely abstain. So a lot of people deleted their Facebook. I try and be in the first category, um, because they get you. Like if you want to look at events, it's the town square, local town square kind of. You kind of want to see what's kind of happening because or I should speak for myself. I kind of want to see what's happening around town. If there's shows and blah blah potentially. To be keep at least being a little bit social, but yeah. On that note, I think that there's a power that when we take away shame and standards, and I don't want to get any ties into religion and blah blah, but just like we're just talking pragmatically about ideas, like in culture, like every culture in the world um, tends to um, stigmatize women that are promiscuous, and it's for good reason. Like, and women even innately know this, and just saying this out loud, it's like there's certain things like that you can't say, but people are saying, just say stuff. Like this is the whole problem, and this is the thing I saw coming a mile away. When you're not allowed to say something, is bullshit. And my point is that that power would create. It's all my position, and it always has been, and always will be. It's up to men to. Um, it's men's decisions that lead a society. So I think it starts with men because you don't have simps. If you don't have simps, women don't have this power. And I underestimated the significance because I was, lucky enough to be on the other end of that during COVID. But I underestimated. It's like the economy when we print money. I guess they say it takes 18 months for you to feel it, and we saw that with everyone's. I got this money. You're gonna see what happens, and everyone saw what happens, and it's unfortunate people still don't go, oh fuck this shit when we print all that money. What it does, literal theft. But what was I getting at? It's like it takes 18 months, so it's like you can kind of diffuse responsibility, and that's kind of how I don't know. I'm just spitballing. That's kind of how I look at what happened with all the social media influencers, namely women. Because that power they wield, and at its scale, the power, the beauty of a woman, it's powerful, and our brains aren't evolved to know the difference between a screen and in real life. And then that's a whole nother thing with guys being entitled or thinking they're whatever, and not entitled as much, but usually choosing it's an easy path to the easy road when you have this screen and you can just look up unlimited stimulation as far as the beauty of women and stimulation, sexually with pornography. But I'm doing a lot of weaves here. I think I'm doing an okay job at finding my way back. But as I say that, I lose my train of thought. Having said that, the what do they call it? The hoflation. I take that back. The surplus of influencers and women in social media, especially if they're selling their bodies and their image and their attention for attention or monetarily, it's drying up in a way that, like, I don't know if it's drying up is the right word, but I think people are waking up, men namely, because men are idiots. Um, Women are like they just like are always 10 steps ahead. Like they just and that's a feature, not a bug. But men are waking up, and ultimately it's some men have always seen the writing on the wall. Some guys are tempted. Every guy's tempted at some point. That's our weakness, right? That is literally our kryptonite, is temptation, namely with women. And um, yeah, again, it's not that it's drying up; it's that it's shifting, and that I think men are kind of taking their power back. It's we, I have two hills I will die on, and one of them is masculinity. And other one's Bitcoin. I mean, let's be real. Bitcoin is like goddamn. But masculinity is, and I shouldn't say masculinity in it, just by itself, but masculinity when it pairs with a man, men being masculine is the answer. It's if goddamn toxic masculinity and like all that, like that is probably one of the most harmful things that has happened in society, because everything else falls apart with society if men don't have healthy boundaries and the ability to say no. And I've made a couple of videos about this, but yeah. All right, 10 minutes. I'll try and keep this one as a quick one. I'm just trying to, again, get out of the comfort zone. Try and keep some videos coming. And, I'm getting some views, so you guys kind of, there's got to be some value a little bit. Yeah, so I guess it's kind of an update and just kind of, again, spitballing masculinity. Keep it going, guys. Like, I know it's the best I've ever felt in my entire life. Is I was at my peak fitness and peak, like meaning, and just literally not, I mean, again, it's easy to do things. This is why I'm here, I think. This is why I made this channel. Because it's easy to do things. A person's capable of anything. And when you have strong support, it's really easy to stay on the straight and narrow, and not even the straight and narrow, on the ambitious, on the straight and narrow. It's very easy to stay motivated and push to be a better person and to fight for things that you believe in and have a will to do what's right and speak truth. But when you have no one, it's like a double-edged sword. You have less to lose, and yet it's harder to do. That's the sickness, right? That's how things devolve. And I would say too, in a lot of ways, that's a big reason why things kind of have gotten this bad, is like with no support, it's easy to be nihilistic. And like, example, you have no family, no friends, no job, no nothing. Why would you put your neck out for a society that effectively, whether it was your fault or not, but the end result is a society that has kind of left you behind? It's like, why would you fight for that? So it's like a tricky thing. You got to work on yourself, but like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's the bravest thing to fight for what you believe in when nobody, not only do people not want to hear it, but you could potentially be screwing up your life even more. Like, obviously I'm talking pretty general here, but there's a degree of which self-destruction is it's not productive for anyone. You got to put the gas mask on yourself, the oxygen mask on yourself before you can put it on anyone else, kind of thing. But it's important to talk, and that is the pendulum right there. Is the change is conversation is now opening up, and that is the answer. Freedom of speech isn't here for protecting good ideas. It's for protecting bad ideas, and then the good ideas should weigh out. So as long as we have that, and it hasn't been the case. Like, my whole life, I'm gonna be on a soapbox, but it's as long as we have that, like, that's we can't slide back as a society. The discourse has to stay productive, and I feel like that is what is changing, and that's the healthiest change that could be made, because anything else that's extreme or violent or like hateful anyway, like conversation one-on-one is so important. Like, I love Carlin would always say that he's very hateful, but it's not true. It's not the whole story. It's a disappointment with humanity. And man, I miss that guy. And he would say that, I love talking to people one-on-one. You can see the whole universe in their eyes, and And he said, but once it gets up to like 2, 3 people, fucking, fuck that. And it's true. It changes everything. And um, talking to people, I do it every day with my roommate. Like just now, I disagree with him about a lot of shit, but there's a mutual respect. It's absolutely, it's so important. Like that, and it always has been. It's like, don't fight the person, fight the ideas. Like that's a human being. Like how did we lose track of that? It's so crazy. And of course it was the only way it could have happened. And that's why I'm so against this new left, more than the other side, at least in the last, 6, 7 years, is because I like my bullshit right up where I can get a nice good whiff of it. And when it's hidden under virtue signaling, then you're in for a whole hell of a lot of problems. And that's what happened. And yeah, so you're going to be open-minded and whatever you're preaching, but then if people don't agree with you, I don't even know how that, like, how did anyone allow that? And that's another hill I die on. It's like, I do not play with that shit. If you're gonna, I'm about to be part of the problem. See, getting excited. Understand those people are hurting too. So, and it really was. It really was the gamer. It was the internet. I saw it happening. It was the gamers. It was the people, the DDoS attacks. It was the people that, are in like in their house, like gaming a lot too much, have a lot of resentment and kind of given up and tearing people down, is a lot easier. And then one person tears someone down, and then and then another person sees that they can do that. They're gonna do that, and then everyone's like, somehow was like, yeah, we became a little bit too sensitive to people's. We became a little bit too sensitive to people that don't deserve any empathy, and no empathy to people that may deserve some, if that makes any sense. And that the trolls and those people were worried about their feelings. I think a stand-up comedy, for example, is very like, some of those people didn't even go to the show, and they just, anyway. And then people that are actually like, maybe disagree with you politically or something, and have, or whatever, and have, a bad thing happen to them, and then no empathy. And that's the exact opposite. I don't know. I'm just talking on my ass as usual, but I'll end the video here. I just wanted to update, check in. My fucked up lip. Fucked up tooth. Look at that shit. I hate it. A little chip. Anyway, love you guys. Hope you're doing well. And whoever's watching these videos, I appreciate you. And feel free to criticize me and troll me and talk shit to me. And I'm just kidding. I'm not starting that negative shit. But yeah, feel free to constructively criticize or humorly troll. That's the way to do it. Constructive criticism and trolling when it's creative and pretty funny. And takes the piss. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Have a great day.